Sup, Bang Dreamers? Welcome back to the channel. This is Maverick here, and today we're going to be watching episode 10 of the anime. So, in the last episode, we see a big resurgence from Puppin Party. Woohoo, yay! And, Reza Suilin, on the other hand, seems to be having some internal conflicts, right? Mostly courtesy of Choo Choo. Although, I guess, in her defense, she's just doing the best that she can for Reza Suilin as a whole. Even though that might not be what everybody else thinks of. I'm sure that they're going to resolve it in the end, right? I did mention this in a comment last episode as well. I mean, we do have, it's sort of similar to last season, like who exactly is going to join Racist Suilin, how are they going to form, and so on and so forth, when it's kind of spoiled because of the real life presence of the bands already. So not really that worried about the entire situation. I guess it will be interesting to see if they maintain this sort of tension for the next few episodes and only eventually resolve it, maybe like one episode before the end, or they're going to fix it right immediately in this one. So I guess that's all we can say for now, right? As for the wider Bang Dream universe, we got the April Fool's events going on, right? And one bad news that came out of all this is that due to the coronavirus outbreak, some of the live concerts have been postponed by Bushiroad, the parent company of this entire project, which I believe in terms of, a lot of different projects or live concerts were canceled as well or postponed, all the other works from Bushiroad. However, I think in terms of Bang Dream specifically, they had a special all band live in May that has been postponed, right? Now, I'm not exactly clear on the details since that wasn't one I was planning to attend or watch, but I guess that is bad news and a huge blow to most of the people who originally wanted to go, right? Too bad, but hey, at the very least, everybody is staying safe, right? So, that's it for now. Let's get right into the episode and see what's up. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Back at the tower as usual. Well, I guess you can't really call it a tower. That really looks more like a residential area. Choo-Choo just happens to have the roof. You'll be fine. Since the season is actually ending, I might go ahead and watch the rest of the episodes of Bandori as well. I know I want to put out one episode per week, but I feel like this is a perfect moment to catch up to the latest episodes. Emotion! Man, I can't wait to watch the live performance of this. Don't know when that will be, however, with all the, with the virus going on and whatnot. Alright, this one is probably gonna be Razor Suilin focused episode, but vocalists are like stars. That means Kasumi is probably going to play a role somehow in this episode. You know, you should probably focus on integrated Japanese a bit more, Akko. You'd have better luck with your lines then. How did your finals go, Yukino? No comment on that? Alright. To head to the event. Yamabuki Bakery. Like I said, with this kind of title for the episode, you can only think of Kasumi. And back to the park. They really like this park. And guys, in case you guys didn't know, I did a video series where I went to various areas that they took as reference from real life. This is an actual park in Tokyo. Last time when I was there as well, I saw other fellow BanG dreamers also making the trip. They call it a holy pilgrimage in Japanese. They for any of you anime only viewers, the thing that Kasumi was talking about right there wasn't really shown much in the anime. I don't think, neither season 1 nor season 2. I mean, sure, they show that they work together, but how they each cared for the band in their separate ways. I think it was more obvious in some of the in some of the game events. Gokigenyo. Today's recital. And the girls are gonna be like, wait. So she puts on the. Huh. I thought she would be rebellious in school as well, but it seems like she's still keeping up with appearances of being a high class girl. Oh, she saw. Mm. What? Mm. 'To the stars. うん。Oh, it's just okay. Yeah, where's PAREO though? Yeah. uh, because PAREO left, she can't handle. And Jerky withdrawal. Probably not. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, more people are here this time? Oh, normal PAREO. Wait, that's such a different. Oh. What about where? Wow. 35% of the venue. Ooh? Oh, her mother. Okay, so I guess this is a case of a neglected daughter trying to prove herself, get her parents to notice them. That kind of story, I guess. So I guess her parents are also very successful in their respective careers as well. I guess they would have to be considering. Okay, so it looks like her mom is a classical musician, probably. Ooh, Choo Choo backstory. Edinburgh piano competition. I guess that's not exactly where her talents lie. Yep, that's her mom. Hmm. Okay, so this kind of ties back to a few episodes ago when she made the quiet mutter about how she's not able to play herself. Hmm. This this is a interesting angle that they're going with. Yeah, I wasn't exactly expecting this angle. Let's go. Weirdo. Run! Are you really supposed to be riding on a bike in that uniform? Just all right, that was funny. All right, so I guess things will be sort of wrapped up in the next episode in terms of their situation, anyways. All right, I don't think there's anything more for now. I'm gonna listen to the end of this, but I will see you guys in just a moment. Alrighty, so that was episode 10, and it seems that we are well on the way into resolving Racist Suiland situation. Lots of nice little developments in this episode, including Choo Choo's backstory. We finally get. It's nothing new, I guess you could say. The way this sort of backstory, and when it was hinted once again a few episodes back when she was muttering on stage how she's not able to perform herself, right? So we can definitely see here she doesn't maybe have the same sort of playing talent that is required, but she still has a good head for music, and that's why she's taken on the role of producer, songwriter, etc., etc., right? And I guess in view of this kind of thing, we can also say that Reza Suilan's development path is more similar to Roselia in a sort of way. They're both the main leaders of the bands, Yukina and Chuchu. They both have chips on their shoulders, and that's why they formed the band in the first place, and why they are, it takes time for them to sort of, open up a little bit, right? Stop being so aggressive and whatnot, and actually settle into the band itself. So I mean, it's a pretty, it's quite funny because Reza Sulan and Roselia are probably the ones who are, if there was any conflict within the Bandori franchise, I think that one would be the biggest in terms of. And I'm not talking about in-universe. I'm talking about outside universe. I'm talking about franchise overall and the fans and whatnot. But they are quite similar, right? Now, Pop and Party, on the other hand, they come from a completely opposite direction, right? They were, in fact, a group of friends who, even though they shared this bond together, weren't really able to take their music as seriously, right? At least that's how it was portrayed in the anime. And so that's why in the last season, after all, we got the entire conflict with Pop and Party. So, very, very different sides of the spectrum, let's say. And it is nice to see them have a sort of completely 180 approach to eventually becoming a great band. Now, especially in this case, since Roselia's story wasn't really told on anime, I guess it's okay to say, hey, it was satisfied by Reza Suilan's backstory instead, right? Now, with that being said, however, I just want to quickly mention that, because this is this sort of feel-good franchise and whatnot, right? No conflict, everybody's happy with each other. I can totally see why they're going with this sort of, oh, we need to strengthen our bond, care for each other, and etc., right? That's all fine and all. I just find it kind of ironic because in real life it doesn't necessarily work this way. There are plenty of very, very successful professional bands that don't really get along with each other, and their music, of course, in the end, most of them broke up in one way or another, but the times when they were together, their creative genius was not exactly hindered, right? And I mean, there are tons of these kinds of bands. Probably one of the biggest and most well-known examples would probably be the Beatles, right? But we can go down the list, like, I don't know, like Guns N' Roses, Metallica, the Pink Floyd, Ramones, the Police, lots of these bands, particularly from the 60s, 70s, and some in the 80s. They have a lot of differences between the band members as well. So it's not necessarily required to be a successful band, right? But then again, this is more of a feel-good anime after all, so they are required to get over their differences. And I think for most fans, that's probably what they would want as well. Now, that being said, I wasn't really expecting the angle that they approach Reza Suilan's problem from. Like Choo Choo's case, okay, I think that was, even if I didn't know the specifics, I think it was kind of granted somehow that it did have something to do with her having a chip on her shoulder. It's just not sure what exactly it was. Now, in this episode, though, they sort of, especially with developing Layer, I mean, obviously, Chuchu has some stuff that she needs to do some self-reflection on herself, right? However, I was kind of surprised that they went with the entire Layer, need to step up and take responsibility and stop acting so aloof storyline. But it really makes total sense if you think about it, right? This is actually going forward. This is actually continuing from season 2, when we had this entire side story between Tai and Layer, right? So in season 2, Pop and Party resolved their differences. Tai already, well, there was never a difference in the first place, I guess you could say, but Tai came out and, put her foot down and said, yeah, I am staying with Pop and Party, I'm not going anywhere, this is where I belong, right? Layer, on the other hand, she joined this band with the hopes, she joined Reza Sulan, in part because she was, she liked Choo Choo's music, but I think another part of her really wanted to really expected Tai to follow her over in the end, and so that was part of her entire reasoning for playing in Raise Suilin here, right? So Tai already made her decision, however, has Layer made her decision yet? And in this episode, we can see that she has finally come out and completely said what she wants to do. She wants to take over being the front woman and have a more active role in this band, right? Now, it's kind of funny because it's so easily overlooked. However, I think that's part of the reason is because Bang Dream is this kind of music franchise, right? It's not really all that focused on the deep development of the bands and whatnot. I know I might get some flack for saying this, but you know, you compare this with some other musical dramas, musical/drama works, such as in the vein of Nana or Beck, and you would know what I mean by this. At the end of the day, this is more of a happy, feel-good franchise. Sure, there are developments in the characters, there are developments in the stories, there's drama, and so on and so forth, but for the most part, things are resolved peacefully, and everybody has a happy day, right? That's not a knock against the franchise. You know, there's different needs for these different types of works, but I'm just saying that in lieu of all of this, it's easy to overlook this sort of development between Tai and Layer and their respective character developments as well. So, that's it for this episode, and I guess in the next one we're going to resolve the entire situation. We're probably also going to get to know PAREO's backstory as well. I'm pretty sure that the black-haired girl we saw in this episode was PAREO, which is kind of funny as well because it was hinted at in the ending, actually. You know, we saw, I think back in episode 1, I was actually saying, hey, who exactly is that twin-tailed black-haired girl? And hey, it is PAREO, and so we do see her in this episode. So, normal PAREO, and probably get to know her backstory. She's gonna make up with Chucho, and everything's gonna be fine in the end. So, there we go. Look forward to episode 11, probably, perhaps tomorrow, or perhaps a few days later on down the road. Definitely not a week, right? I'm going to try and catch up to the latest episode in these next few days. So, stay tuned, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.